Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about cross-training for injured runners. So how are we going to maintain our training program if we've developed a running injury, right? We're going to talk about this from kind of a physiological sort of theoretical perspective and then sort of relate that to the sort of practical side of things and how you're actually going to do it, right? And the first thing we're going to do is have a look at the sort of theory of the different sort of training effects of running regularly. Okay, so if we have a look here, what I've done is kind of lined up along the bottom the sort of fairly typical things that we know happen when we're training regularly. So say it's training for a marathon, right? We know that we're going to be getting fitter, and we have to sort of develop, we all often call it like developing like cardio fitness kind of thing. And what's happening is you're regularly putting a sort of stress on your body that is making you sort of breathe harder. And that is going to evoke certain responses and adaptations out of your body from a sort of physiological standpoint, so that next time you do it, it's easier, okay? So when we're getting fitter, what's happening is there's a few things here, that the heart is getting bigger and stronger so it can pump more blood. They're getting more capillaries in the muscles. We're getting more of these things within the muscles called myoglobin and mitochondria. And I've talked a lot about this kind of adaptation in the past and what's happening, but basically, from a physiological standpoint, when we're training regularly, when we're running regularly, cycling regularly, whatever, getting out of breath on a regular basis, that physiological stress of having to breathe harder stimulates an adaptation by the body to that stress in order that when you experience it in the future, you're better able to tolerate it. You've got better at it. You've adapted to it, okay? And this is often called getting fitter, right? You've got better lungs, okay? You've got better cardio, right? But that's not the only effect of training regularly, okay? The other thing that happens is we put our body under kind of a mechanical stress as well. So this is, if you're running on the road, you're kind of pounding the pavement, right? That's how it's often referred to. And what's happening when you're doing that is you're putting a sort of mechanical load on your body's tissues. And the body's tissues, we have all sorts of different tissues, right? So my skin is a tissue, my muscles are a tissue, my bones are a tissue, my joint cartilage is a tissue, my ligaments are a tissue, all this kind of stuff. These are all tissues, and they all respond to that mechanical stress of being loaded, right? Of being pounded into the pavement. They adapt to that as long as it's not too much. And what happens is we develop, stronger bones, stronger joints. The hyaline cartilage actually sort of develops and becomes thicker and more able to tolerate load. We get stronger muscles, as we know. If we load them regularly, muscles get bigger and get stronger. We get stronger tendons. The collagen networks within the tendons become more dense and sort of able to sort of tolerate more mechanical stress in the future, right? So if we think about the effects of training, we've got these physiological stresses that get you fitter, and then we've got these mechanical stresses that can get you stronger, make your tissues more resilient, right? So you don't get injured. When you do get injured though, say you develop knee pain, for example, while you're training, you have to offload that mechanical stress on that particular body part. So if you're running and you do 3K runs and your knee hurts too much to do any more, you can't continue to run through that because it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get more painful. So you have to offload the knee from a mechanical standpoint. It doesn't mean you can't keep training though, right? Because you're going to go to physio, you're going to be trying to address this issue. In the meantime, your training plan, you can still keep going in terms of getting fitter from a physiological standpoint. And we do that with cross-training. Does that make sense? So we can continue to get fitter even though we can't continue to load the knee in the exact same way by running, right? We can still get fitter so that if we can address this knee issue, and I've linked the blog to today's talk in the description, so you can have a look at that. And I talk more about what you would do about that particular issue and link to some blogs I've written on that. I've written a lot about how to address these issues on your own in the past, but we want to continue to get fitter, right? So we don't want to get to race day and our knee's not hurting anymore, but the longest run we've done was 8K and we're supposed to be doing a marathon, right? So we want to continue to develop our physiological fitness so that when race day comes, if we have got over that injury, we can actually do it, okay? So this is how we're going to do. I'm going to take the example of, say, me running, and I get to week 7. And I just downloaded this off the internet. It's just like a regular marathon training program. This one's from the Running Room, and it was free online. And it's fairly typical of what you see in a lot of marathon training programs. So I was doing this, and I got to week 7, right? and my knee started hurting. I couldn't do more than a 1K run, so I couldn't really run at all at that time. But I was okay if I rode my bike, that didn't hurt, and aqua jogging, that was okay, swimming was okay, cycling was okay. So these are all forms of cross training, and I'm going to use those because I can do those while I address the knee issues separately, which is not what I'm going to be talking about. We're going to talk about how to do good cross training so you can continue to get fit, all right? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm up to week 7, and I'm going to take week 8, and I want to try and recreate it in cross training. I call it matched intensity cross training, and you'll see why later. But basically, let's sort of break this out one bit at a time. We want to do week 8, and we want to do it in a form of cross training. So the first thing we're going to do is, try and estimate what is week 8 in terms of the physiological stress, which is the one that we want to try and continue with, okay? So let's break it down. We've got Sunday, long run, 23K, Tuesday, 6K tempo, Wednesday, 6K with 5 hills in it. So it's more like a hill session, sorry. Thursday is an 8K steady, 6K is an 8K steady or easy run, right? Now, we're going to take that training week, and we're going to try and work out the intensity, first of all. Okay, so how hard is each run? You'll notice I've color-coded them green, orange, and red, and that's relating to this little thing here, which is also linked and is in the blog that I was talking about that's in the description for this video. There's different ways you can refer to intensity. We could do easy, easy, moderate, and hard, right? That's 3 easy zones. Or often you'll see these sort of 5 training zones used, right? With 5 being the most intense and 1 being the least intense. Lots of training programs use different things like, percentage of heart rate or lactate threshold. Some will use sort of training terms, or most will, and that one does. Things like steady runs or long runs, tempo runs, hill intervals and that kind of stuff. And basically what I've done with this table is just try and drop them all in so that you can kind of see where they all fit in the great scheme of things. So if we've got these runs here, we want to try and work out how hard they are in terms of are they a green, an orange, or a red, or which zone are they in, okay? That's the first step. So week 8, estimated 23K long, slow run. That's like a zone 1 run, right? That's fairly easy. You could argue it was zone 2, but give or take, okay? 6K tempo run. Tempo runs are always kind of top of zone 3, right? So they're moderately hard. They're not sprints, but they're hard workouts nonetheless. The 6K with hills, we're going to put as a red, as a zone 5, right? That's this one, right? The hardest zone. And I've done that because you're going to go, level 5 intensity when you're running up the hill for those 30 seconds or so that you're running up the hill. And then when you're coming down and recovering, or when you're running to and from the hill, you will be going in easy pace. But we're going to categorize this as zone 5 for the hills, right? And then we've got these 2 steady runs. Again, we're going to estimate that they're in training zone 2, okay? Now, we're going to take the length of the run if it's in distance, and we're going to try and estimate how long it would have took us, right? So say I'm training and I know roughly that a 23K run will take me about 2 hours and 45 minutes, right? And I know that a 6K tempo run will take me about 35 minutes. 6K with some hills in is like a 40 minutes of running with 5 sets of hills in it, right? So I'm running up the hill for probably about 30 seconds. And a steady run of 8K will take me about 50 minutes. Steady run of 6K will take me about 40 minutes. So now I know the estimated intensity zone, and I know the estimated duration of the run, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in a replacement that is matched intensity for cross training. You can do all cycling, you can do all swimming, you can do all cycling, whatever. I'm going to do different ones because that would be probably the safest way to do it if you are going to do it. So say we take this 23K long, slow run, I'm going to replace the running with aqua jogging. On the tempo, I'm going to replace the running with cycling, right? Hills, I'm going to do cycling again. Steady run, I'm going to replace with the elliptical. Steady run, I'm going to replace with the aqua jogging, okay? So this is my sort of lineup for the week. And now I'm going to take the running workouts out, and this tells me what to do in week 8, okay? So we've got on Sunday, the zone 1 run, yeah, so really easy. It's going to be really long, 2 hours, 45 minutes, but we're going to do aqua jogging instead of running. That's going to recreate the physiological sort of stress of a long, slow run for 2 hours and 45 minutes, but you can do it in the pool so that you're not loading the knee. So it won't recreate the mechanical stress, but it will recreate the physiological stress, which is what we're after. Monday is rest day. Tuesday, I'm going to do zone 3 session of cycling for 35 minutes. That's going to be like doing a 35-minute tempo run, okay, because I'm going to go quite hard, but it's going to offload my knee. So the physiological stress is the same, 35 minutes of zone 3 intensity, but the mechanical stress is offloading the knee because I'm not having to run, right? So that's going to allow my knee to continue to calm down. Wednesday, this is a slightly more tricky one, right? Got this hill session of 40 minutes that we need to recreate. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 40 minutes of cycling in zones 1, but with 5 sets of 30-second sprints. So for 30 seconds every few minutes, we're going to bump the resistance up and sort of go really hard on the bike and then recover after 30 seconds. That's trying to recreate that same physiological or cardio stimulus that the hill session would, but we're doing it on the bike, right? Thursday, zone 2, so a fairly easy conversational pace on the elliptical, right? Just breathing a little bit, but not much at all. And you're just going for 50 minutes, yeah? That'll recreate that zone 2 run in an elliptical form. And then zone 2, 40 minutes of aqua jogging on the Saturday. And then that's basically how you would do it, right? So then that's week 8 done, that's what I'm going to do. And then in week 9, if I still can't run, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go through my training program. I'm just going to follow the 4 steps. So step 1 is to look at the training program for the week coming up. Step 2 is to estimate how intense each workout is. So is this an easy run? Is this a tempo run? Is this hills or intervals, sprint interval sessions? What kind of training zone? Is it a green, an orange, or a red? Right? And then I'm going to sort of line that up. And then the last thing I'm going to do is estimate how long it would have took me. How long would I have been running for? And then I'm just going to do that duration of cross-training, step 4, we allocate a cross-training session of cycling or whatever for the same duration at the same intensity, but it'll be swimming instead of running, right? And in that way I can continue to maintain that physiological stress. So I keep getting fitter, but I can offload the knee so the mechanical stress has gone down so the knee can calm down. I'm going to take other steps to address the knee problem in the meantime. Now, I know that's a little bit complicated. It sounds a bit tricky, especially when you look at all these graphs and stuff. It's actually quite easy. It's just those 4 steps, right? Get injured, can't run so much, but you want to keep getting fitter. So you do matched intensity cross-training, right? So you look at your training program from the week, you work out how long each run would be, how intense each run would be, and instead of running for that long at that intensity, you do something else for that long at that intensity. Okay, it's quite simple, just a little bit hard to explain. And that will allow you to continue to keep getting fitter so that if you can address the injury, you'll still be fit enough on race day in order to perform well. Okay, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys next week.